Shalom. Financial chaos is not caused by lack of money. It is caused by lack of order. This feels wrong to most people. We've been taught that financial stress comes from not earning enough, not having the right opportunities, or not working hard enough. We look at our bank accounts, our bills, our debts, and we think the problem is mathematical. More income should solve it. A better job should fix it. A windfall should end it. But here's what I've observed after decades of studying both Torah wisdom and human behavior. People who suddenly receive more money often find themselves in deeper financial chaos within months. Lottery winners frequently end up bankrupt. High earners live paycheck to paycheck. Successful business owners struggle with constant financial anxiety. The issue isn't the amount, it's the absence of divine structure. When we operate without the order that the Creator established, we create disorder regardless of how much flows through our hands. We spend impulsively, save inconsistently, give haphazardly, and plan poorly because we're missing the foundational framework that brings peace to our financial lives. The Torah doesn't approach money as a resource to be maximized. It approaches money as a tool that requires sacred structure to function properly in our lives. Without this structure, even abundance becomes a source of stress, confusion, and spiritual emptiness. In a few minutes, I'll name the specific Torah law that creates this order. But first, you need to understand why money alone never resolves chaos. Most financial advice focuses on tactics: budget better, invest smarter, earn more. But tactics without proper foundation are like building a house on sand. The structure looks right from the outside, but it cannot withstand the storms of life because it lacks the bedrock of divine order. What I want to share with you today is not another financial strategy. It's an ancient principle that has brought stability and peace to Jewish communities for thousands of years, even through persecution, exile, and economic upheaval. This principle doesn't promise wealth, it promises something more valuable: financial order that reflects divine order. I'm Rabbi Avraham, and for over 2 decades I've been teaching Torah wisdom to people seeking real solutions to modern problems. I'm not here to inspire you with motivational stories or promise quick fixes. The Torah is not self-help, it's a blueprint for living that has sustained our people through every conceivable challenge. The wisdom I share comes from centuries of Jewish scholarship, practical application, and deep study of how divine principles translate into daily life. This isn't about religion as you might understand it. This is about recognizing that the Creator of the universe has given us specific instructions for how to structure our lives, including our relationship with money. Today you'll understand one precise Torah law that, when followed exactly, brings divine order to financial chaos. You'll see why this law works, how it's been tested across generations, and most importantly, how to apply it in your specific situation starting today. This is not theory. This is practical wisdom that transforms lives when implemented with sincerity and consistency. The financial chaos that most people experience goes much deeper than numbers on a bank statement. It's a spiritual disorder that manifests in every area of life, creating a cascade of problems that seem unrelated but share the same root cause. When your financial life lacks divine order, decision-making becomes exhausting. Every purchase requires internal debate. Every bill creates anxiety. Every financial choice feels like a gamble because you have no clear framework guiding your decisions. You're constantly reacting rather than responding from a place of clarity and peace. This chaos destroys relationships. Couples fight about money not because they disagree about specific purchases, but because they have no shared structure for making financial decisions. Parents feel guilty about what they can or cannot provide for their children. Adult children worry about aging parents. The lack of financial order creates a web of interpersonal stress that affects every conversation and every plan. The chaos also erodes your sense of purpose. When you're constantly worried about money, constantly making financial decisions from fear or impulse, you lose connection to why you're working, why you're earning, and what you're ultimately building. Work becomes just survival rather than service. Earning becomes just accumulation rather than stewardship. Most tragically, financial chaos disconnects you from the divine flow of abundance that the Creator intended. Money becomes an idol rather than a tool. You begin to believe that your security comes from your account balance rather than from your relationship with the source of all provision. This spiritual confusion creates a hunger that no amount of money can satisfy. People in financial chaos often report feeling simultaneously greedy and generous, anxious and careless, focused on money and completely overwhelmed by it. These contradictions aren't personality flaws. They're symptoms of operating without the divine structure that brings coherence to our financial lives. The stress manifests physically, sleep disrupted by money worries, health neglected because of financial anxiety, relationships strained by financial pressure, career decisions made from desperation rather than calling. This is what happens when we try to manage money without the wisdom of our Creator. But here's what's beautiful about Torah wisdom. It doesn't condemn this chaos. It simply provides the structure that resolves it. The same way a cluttered room needs organization rather than judgment, a chaotic financial life needs divine order rather than shame. The Torah law that ends financial chaos is found in the principle of Maaser, which means a tenth. But Maaser is far more sophisticated than simply giving 10% of your income. It's a complete system of financial order that reflects how the Creator designed abundance to flow through human lives. The Torah states in Leviticus, "All the tithe of the land, whether of the seed of the land or of the fruit of the tree, is the Lord's. It is holy to the Lord." This isn't just about agriculture. It's about acknowledging that everything we receive comes from a divine source and must be stewarded according to divine principles. Maaser establishes what Jewish scholars call divine partnership in your financial life. When you consistently set aside the first tenth of everything you receive for sacred purposes, you're not just giving money away. You're declaring that your financial life operates under divine authority rather than your own limited understanding. This first tenth creates what we call kedusha, holiness, in your entire financial structure. It sanctifies the remaining 90% by establishing the proper order from the beginning. Most people try to figure out their giving after they've handled all their other financial obligations. Maaser reverses this, putting divine acknowledgement first and allowing all other financial decisions to flow from that foundation. The mechanism is profound. When you give the first tenth, you're forced to live within the remaining 90%. This creates natural boundaries and disciplines that prevent overspending, impulse buying, and financial chaos. You can't live paycheck to paycheck when you've already committed the first portion to something beyond yourself. More importantly, Maaser transforms your relationship with money from ownership to stewardship. You begin to see yourself not as someone trying to accumulate wealth, but as someone entrusted with resources to be managed according to divine wisdom. This shift in identity completely changes how you make financial decisions. The Torah promises that when Maaser is practiced correctly, there will be food in my house, meaning your needs will be provided for. But this isn't a prosperity gospel promise. It's a statement about divine order creating natural abundance when we align with how the Creator designed financial flow to work. The principle works because it reflects a deeper truth about how abundance operates in the universe. The Creator designed a world where giving and receiving are part of the same cycle. When we hoard, we interrupt the flow. When we give appropriately, we participate in the divine system of circulation that ensures everyone's needs are met. Ma'aser also protects against the spiritual dangers of wealth. When money flows through your hands rather than stopping with you, when you're consistently acknowledging the source of your provision, when you're regularly practicing generosity, money cannot become your God. It remains a tool rather than becoming an idol. This principle appears throughout Torah teaching because it reflects a fundamental truth about how the Creator structured reality. We see it in the Sabbath, working 6 days and resting 1. We see it in the sabbatical year, farming 6 years and letting the land rest in the 7th. We see it in the Jubilee cycle, 50 years of accumulated debt being forgiven. The pattern is always the same: human effort combined with divine acknowledgement, work balanced with recognition of our dependence on the Creator, accumulation balanced with release. This pattern creates sustainable abundance rather than destructive accumulation. In Jewish communities throughout history, Maaser has created remarkable financial stability even during persecution and economic upheaval. When everyone in a community practices proper giving, when everyone acknowledges divine partnership in their finances, when everyone operates from stewardship rather than ownership, the entire economic ecosystem becomes stable and sustainable. Modern psychology has discovered what Torah has always taught. Generosity reduces anxiety, creates a sense of abundance, and improves decision-making. When you're regularly giving, you cannot simultaneously believe that you lack resources. The act of giving creates confidence in your ability to meet your needs and fulfill your obligations. But Ma'aser only works when practiced with precision. It's not about giving whenever you feel like it or whatever amount seems convenient. It's about establishing a consistent, disciplined practice that acknowledges divine partnership in every financial transaction. The transformation that Maaser creates in your identity is perhaps its most important benefit. Most people relate to money from a position of fear, scarcity, or greed. They either worry about not having enough or become consumed with accumulating more. Both positions create spiritual and emotional problems. When you practice Ma'aser correctly, you begin to see yourself as someone who has been entrusted with resources by the Creator. You're not trying to get money from a hostile universe. You're not competing with others for limited resources. You're participating in a divine system of abundance that has more than enough for everyone when everyone plays their proper role. This identity shift affects every area of your life. In your work, you stop seeing your job as your source and start seeing it as one channel through which divine provision flows. This reduces workplace anxiety and helps you make career decisions from calling rather than desperation. In your relationships, you stop seeing other people as competitors for resources and start seeing them as partners in a shared abundance. This transforms how you negotiate, how you collaborate, and how you support others in their financial growth. In your planning, you stop trying to control outcomes and start focusing on faithful stewardship. This reduces the anxiety that comes from trying to manage variables beyond your control while increasing your effectiveness in areas where you do have influence. Most importantly, Ma'aser connects you to the divine flow of abundance that the Creator established. When you're consistently acknowledging that everything comes from the source, when you're regularly participating in the giving that keeps abundance circulating, when you're living from stewardship rather than ownership, you tap into a peace and confidence that no bank account can provide. This doesn't mean you become careless with money. Actually, people who practice maaser correctly tend to be more disciplined and wise with their finances because they understand they're managing resources that belong to the Creator. But their discipline comes from love and reverence rather than fear and anxiety. The practical application of maaser requires precision and consistency. This is not about occasional charitable giving or spontaneous generosity. This is about establishing a disciplined practice that creates divine order in your financial life. First, calculate exactly 10% of every form of income you receive. This includes salary, business profits, gifts, investment returns, and any other money that comes into your hands. The Torah doesn't make exceptions based on your financial situation or your other obligations. Maaser comes first, before taxes, before expenses, before savings, before anything else. Second, decide in advance where your maaser will go and give it immediately when income is received. Traditional Jewish practice directs maaser to support Torah study, assist those in genuine need, and sustain spiritual institutions. In practical terms, this means supporting organizations that teach divine wisdom, help the poor, and build spiritual infrastructure in your community. Third, timing and intention are inseparable. When maaser is given first, it establishes divine order and sanctifies everything that follows. When it is delayed or treated as an afterthought, it loses its structural power and becomes just another expense instead of the foundation of your financial life. Fourth, track your maaser giving carefully. Keep records of what you give and where you give it. This isn't for tax purposes, though that may be a benefit. This is for spiritual discipline. When you track your giving, you maintain awareness of your partnership with the Creator in your financial life. Fifth, never compromise the amount based on temporary circumstances. If you're in financial difficulty, maaser becomes more important, not less important. The discipline of giving the first tenth, especially when money is tight, builds the trust and structure that will carry you through challenging periods. The integration of maaser into your life creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond your bank account. When your financial life operates according to divine order, when you're consistently practicing stewardship rather than ownership, when you're regularly acknowledging the source of your provision, every area of your life begins to reflect this same structure and peace. Your work becomes more purposeful because you understand that you're not just earning money for yourself, but managing resources that will flow through your hands to serve others. This transforms how you approach your career, how you treat clients and colleagues, and how you make business decisions. Your relationships become more generous because you're practicing abundance rather than scarcity. When you're regularly giving away the first portion of everything you receive, you cannot simultaneously believe that there isn't enough. This abundance mindset affects how you treat your family, your friends, and everyone you encounter. Your planning becomes more peaceful because you're operating from trust rather than fear. When you know that your needs are provided for as long as you maintain proper stewardship, you can make decisions based on wisdom rather than worry. Most importantly, your spiritual life deepens because you're actively participating in divine order rather than just learning about it. Maaser is prayer in action, faith made practical, trust expressed through behavior. Every time you give the first tenth, you're declaring your dependence on the Creator and your commitment to divine principles. This practice builds over time, creating momentum and confidence that compounds with consistency. People who have practiced maaser for years often report that financial decisions become almost automatic because they have a clear framework guiding every choice. They know what comes first, what principles govern their choices, and what their ultimate purpose is in managing money. The reflection that Maaser invites goes beyond financial planning into the deepest questions of purpose and meaning. Why has the Creator entrusted you with these resources? How can you be the best possible steward of what you've been given? What role does your financial life play in serving the divine plan for creation? These questions don't have quick answers, but they transform how you think about every dollar that passes through your hands. Money stops being just a tool for meeting your needs and becomes a sacred responsibility that connects you to something infinitely larger than yourself. Remember that wisdom does not rush. The benefits of Maaser are built through consistency over time, through faithful practice even when you don't see immediate results, through trust in divine order even when human logic suggests other approaches. If this teaching resonates with you, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel for more Torah wisdom applied to modern life. But more importantly, I invite you to begin practicing what you've learned today. Start with your next paycheck. Calculate the first tenth. Give it immediately to support divine wisdom, help those in need, or build spiritual infrastructure in your community. Share in the comments below how you plan to implement Maaser in your specific situation, but remember that this is about consistent action rather than perfect understanding. The wisdom reveals itself through practice, not through analysis. Wisdom does not rush. It builds one decision at a time, 1/10 at a time, one act of faithful stewardship at a time, until divine order becomes the foundation of everything you do.